So here we have the white-blue control deck in Modern. This deck was quite popular at Grand Prix San Antonio. So granted that was a team-limited event, but the deck has also been doing well on Magic Online, and control decks seemingly were dead in Modern for a little while, and then this deck has come along and it's got game against almost everything in the format. So it's a two-color deck, unlike some of the other control decks. So the mana base is good. You're allowed to play 4 Ghost Quarters because you are playing 2 colors. Celestial Colonnade is a very powerful man land. The 4/4 Flying Vigilance is great. And besides that, there's nothing too fancy with the mana base. Then we move on to some card draw. So Ancestral Vision is the most powerful card draw card that blue has access in terms of the rate. So you're paying 1 to draw 3. Now granted, you're not drawing those 3 cards until much later in the game, but it's great in the grindier matchups that tend to go longer and the games get drawn out. Serum Visions is also a very strong card draw spell at 1 mana. So you see that the card draw has become very cheap. And this card, the Serum Visions, you can flash back with Snapcaster Mage. The scrying is great. There's also a bunch of counter spells in this deck. So we've got 2 Spell Snares, 2 Mana Leaks, and 3 Cryptic commands. So you don't want too many counter spells because sometimes you're behind on board. You need to catch up with some type of removal. But other times, if your opponent's playing a combo deck or a slower deck, then the counters are going to be great. So they can be matchup dependent, but any control deck wants access to some counter spells, and 7 is actually on the lower end of the amount of counters you can play. There's 7 1-mana removal spells as well, so 4 Path and 3 Condemn. So Condemn, it puts an attacking creature on the bottom of its owner's library, and that is pretty powerful. So it's very similar to exiling, and your opponent is going to be attacking into you. So both Blessed Alliance and Condemn do good work in terms of making sure that the board is clear in terms of your opponent's creatures. And against Death Shadow in particular, 1 mana removal is king in that matchup. 2 Mana Leaks, 3 Snapcaster Mage. So you could play 4. There's 3 in this list, and there's a lot of 1 mana cards to flash back. You can use them as win conditions because there aren't that many win conditions in the deck. Spreading Seas is very important for this deck. So there's non-basic lands that can cause you a lot of problems, or decks that play lands that synergize with each other, like say Tron, for instance. All of the lands in that deck are a problem. So by shutting down one Urza's piece, you're effectively neutering a lot of that deck. So the combination of Spreading Seas and Ghost Quarter can attack your opponent's mana base. Say you're playing against a 3-color deck or even a 2-color deck, but you're able to disrupt the opponent, and then a lot of times your opponent searches out all of the basic lands in their deck because most decks don't play that many basics. So Ghost Quarters and Paths eventually just become, okay, 1 mana, remove target creature, or a strip mine, essentially. So that can happen. Then we've got 2 Detention Spheres as an all-purpose removal spell. A lot of times you'll get multiple cards with this because your opponent will have 2 of the same or even more of the same type of permanent in play. The Crucible of Worlds is mostly here for Ghost Quarter. As I was saying, it goes along with the land destruction strategy. Then there's a couple of Planeswalkers. So these are perfect once you get the board under control. You can just play a Planeswalker. So there's one Jace Architect of Thought and one Elspeth Sun's Champion. And Elspeth Sun's Champion, I can tell you that when it comes down, it does some work and it will win you the game. And then there's two Supreme Verdicts, two Wrath of Gods, essentially. The sideboard, so we've got 3 core Firewalkers for the red aggressive decks, 2 negates for the combo decks, and for the control mirror matches. Vendilion Click comes in similar matchups to negate. Similarly, Dispel also comes in against control and combo. 4 for nodes is for any type of creature deck, basically, where you expect lots of creatures. This is going to do good work for you, and sometimes it'll kill a lot of your opponent's board. Celestial Purge is another card that's good against Death Shadow. Not only can it get rid of creatures, it gets rid of any black or red permanent, so Celestial Purge is a great answer to Liliana, for instance. Rest in Peace and Stony Silence are all-purpose hosers in this format. We know what Stony Silence is good against. We know what Rest in Peace is good against. And these cards can be amazing in the right matchups. So this is the blue-white deck. It's pretty straightforward. This is the list of Gregory Orange, who actually his team won the Grand Prix in San Antonio. So that clearly has legs, and I'll be playing it here.